Live. Okay, we're live.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to remind everyone that our exits are on either end of the building, and the handicap access is on the right-hand side. Right across from the door here is the AED system if we need it. And all cell phones and speakers be turned off for the duration of the meeting. And if you have any questions during the meeting, feel free to ask. Cheryl, can you take the roll call, please?
Clark Mahaney.
Here.
Janine Klopp. Here. Steve Rutherford.
Here.
Harry Whipple. Here. Louis Stevenson.
Here. Thank you. Everyone had a copy of the minutes and had a chance to read them. Are there any amendments or corrections to those minutes? Okay, hearing none, can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the June 27th meeting minutes.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we accept the minutes from the previous meeting. Cheryl, can you take a roll?
Clark Mahaney.
Yes.
Janine Klopp. Yes. Steve Rutherford.
Yes.
Harry Whipple. Yes. Louis Stevenson.
Yes. All right, thank you very much. Okay, we'll go right into our reports. Janine, you have planning board?
I do have the planning board, July 5th was a Tuesday because of the 4th of July. There was a public hearing that was tabled from the previous month. Next Era Energy, property owned by Eugene Dollar, 1764 Walker Lake, Ontario Road, seeking a special use permit. As I said, it's a continuation of the meeting from the previous month. There was a public hearing, and there were quite a few people from the public who had expressed concern about electromagnetic fields and radiation exposure, just things that they were concerned about, and also some noise issues. According to the representative from Next Era Energy, the inverters, they have some EMF, which are electromagnetic fields, but studies have shown that it's no more than what a standard household appliance would emit. Underneath this solar farm is not right at the road, it's a little bit back from the road, so their costs don't appear to be any issue.
Maybe this was discussed, maybe it wasn't. Is it no more than like one appliance in full field?
Yeah. Well, I guess I have a sheet that I picked up that the planning board distributed about the so, without going through the whole thing right now, I really can't answer that question.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was discussed.
I don't think it was discussed into that. I'll be glad to share because I picked up extra copies.
Yeah.
So there's a copy of electric and magnetic fields, and there's a lot of information in there, and the planning board had reviewed all of this and was okay with it. So no one else addressed the public hearing that was continued on July 5th. So the public hearing was closed. The attorney had nothing to add. A motion was made and seconded to approve the special use permit, but they did come up with 17 conditions that the company has to meet. I'm not going to go through all 17, but I'll give a brief synopsis. Construction must be completed in 6 months. They want to make sure that there is signage at the gate during construction and also during the operation phase with names and numbers to contact if there's an emergency. Landscaping needs to be maintained, and they were specific about that. They want to be sure to let the code enforcement officer know a week prior when the system will be activated, and also to give a couple of business days notice if the system goes out of service for any period of time. They want honeybee metal mix under the panel. They also want to make sure that the local fire department has emergency access to the security gate, and that they hold a meeting with fire district to review any procedures that may be necessary should there be emergencies. And one of the public concerns during the public hearing last month was the noise that was entailed. There's no noise from the solar farm itself, but there is noise when they're constructing it for the piling. So they specify in these conditions that the pilings can only be driven from between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Any other non-noise producing construction can go from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So that's just kind of a recap of the 17 conditions, but it was approved. There was an agenda item for conservation corridor development permit, but there's no, the applicants did not show up, so that's been postponed until August. And on the agenda was a preliminary and final single lot subdivision for Rocky Bank, 307 Drake Road in the RN district. Who wants to build construct a single and final lot subdivision, and that will be scheduled a public hearing for August 1st. And there was no discussion, so that was the planning board meeting for the Wednesday.
All right, thank you, Janine.
Does anyone else want a copy of this?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, I can share it too.
I can make more copies and email to you in the morning.
There were some copies left over after the planning board meeting, and maybe you can also.
Yeah, I only had like 12, so you're busy that much.
Okay, thank you. The Fish Advisory Board is, for the time being, not meeting in person because of the COVID increase. So we all met by Zoom again. We had a speaker by the name of Brian Wydell. He's from the USGS and the Sea Grant people, and he is out of Sligo. And he is working on what we call crayfish study. And the crayfish that he's looking at are two fish that was very, very abundant in the lake until they were fished out, and that was the whitefish and the cisco. These fish are very, very healthy for the salmon and other fish to eat. And they don't hold the same chemicals in them that the alloys do. What gives our salmon the lack of vitamin D. So, anyways, they're doing studies up in the Bay of Shamal, which is up by Cape Vincent right now. And they are, in fact, building a reef system up there to see if the crayfish will spawn on the reef, and by they'll be able to also go in and be able to, once fish do spawn on it, they'll be able to go and make an analysis of how many eggs are surviving, and hopefully be able to mark some see how they grow in the lake. And it just happens to be that the reef that they are building has the same requirements, the same water depth as the reef that we want to build down here for lake trout. So while they are indeed studying the Cisco and the lake whitefish, they'll also be looking at the populations of lake trout that use it. And so that's good for us, because once that study gets in place, we'll say, yeah, this type of structure works, and we can get business building our reefs down here. There's a couple reasons why these crayfish have not done well in the lake. And you've heard me talk about this before, that the lake is too clean. And once they stop the phosphate from going out into the water and stuff, lake stops producing algae, which stops a lot of the little microorganisms that baby fish need to eat aren't there. And so you can have a whole bunch of fish spawn and spawn successfully, but if there's nothing for the babies to eat, they're not going to grow. And they don't know how to turn that process around. Everybody likes a nice clean lake and be down 50 feet and stuff, but it's also called a sterile lake because there's nothing to grow at. And so they're studying that effect, and the other effect is what we call silting, whereby the silt from the runoff from the fields and stuff go in and suffocate the eggs because there's just too much siltation, and the eggs don't spike. And so those are two of the major things that are hampering why the fish are not surviving in our lake, and we're not getting more fish and bigger fish. So what we had then back in the 60s and 70s. The other thing that we talked about was the zebra mussels, of course, that filter out, a vast amount of water, and that also plays made from part of these fish not surviving. Other than that, that was pretty good meeting for us. It provided a lot of information in what we're trying to do in building a reef system. So, up our lake trout populations. So, other than that, we'll move on to Clark.
July 11th, town board meeting. First thing they did was approve advertise for the open vacancy on the planning board. It should be advertised for two weeks. And the applications have to be in by no later than 4 p.m. on August 8th. They approved a new heat pump air conditioner for the supervisor and finances office. They had mobile in there and it doesn't work well, and just pulls the back, I guess, in there. There was a resolution to approve a waiver of regulations on the cell tower with going up 100 Moscow Road. What it has to do with, the, equipment. The town code, 506, paragraph 6G-8 and paragraph 6G, car capacity and design, and 506, paragraph 6G9, car specs. They'd like to have that waived. What that says is that they have to load, the tower with 100-pound, equipment all the way down, where, they want to allow the next two elevations below the top to be loaded with 8,000 pounds, and the lowest elevation to be loaded with 4,000 pounds. I believe I said the first one had to be 100 pounds, 1,000, 10,000 pounds. The town board, did vote to waive that, regulation and allow them to, load 8,000 pounds. Second and third lowest, and then the fourth and lowest elevation to be loaded 4,000 pounds. The library summer reading program started with Magic Show, and they had a Tie Day program with a great turnout. They had 130 kids signed up so far for the reading program. And adult programs include Medicare 101 and assisted listening devices. There were 16 calls and 2 dogs to the dog shelter as of July 11th. We're working on the end of the summer bash on August 27th at the town hall. It'll be 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. for the kids. And then they'll have a band at the fire department starting at 8. The ambulance base had 94 calls for June and 557 year to date. They're also planning a winter snow event, maybe at Hamlin Beach the third weekend of December. Hamlin Morton Water Fire Department had 250 calls year to date. And the district gave the use of its van at a wellness conference for those that have lost loved ones in line of duty. Hamlin provided rides from the airport, so sure they had a way to get there. They're getting ready for a plant date at the Hamlin Carnival, which they already had. Walker is working on the renovation. The Highway Department is working on county roads and doing mowing, paving, chip seals, new playground, and hunting the park and walking paths will start later. The town assessor filed the final rule, which is working on inventory of exemptions at the present time. The new car bench, I don't know, may have already be in place now, but that was on display here for the meeting. At least the back of it was. And they're working on the project for, working on jump jamboree and cruise, and this is this weekend. And the town is working with a new recreation supervisor, Angel Mayor, and New York State, Hamlin Beach State Park to get something happening there. And they're looking at cemetery places. They've not been updated in a long time because Hamlin owns the Blossom Cemetery. What is it? Carson Union or the Union Carson? Cemetery over here on Roosevelt Highway. The Hamlin town owns that now because the organization did own it when bankrupt. And state law says that when one goes bankrupt like that, the town has to take ownership. So they're taking doing the work there. And, so the, highway superintendent would like to keep better track of man-hours and stuff put into cemetery. It needs updates with the building and the driveway, and they would like to reset prices for the cemetery. They haven't been, reset in a year. They also talked about the Lakeshore Sewer District number 2, and, number 1 bid came in at $221,690 extra over the cost estimated. So they need to figure out how they're gonna pay for those extra costs. And, I'll wait a motion to adjourn.
Okay, thank you very much, Clark. You're welcome. Louis, zoning board?
Yeah, so the July 18th zoning board was, pretty much just public hearings from what we talked about last month, so I won't go too much into depth, answer questions, but 3599 Brick Schoolhouse Road, in Maynard, Michigan, so the public hearing for that, and, the zoning board ended up approving 6 chickens with a 5-year sunset clause, and the conditions of proper retirement disposal of waste and things like that. Harry Bailey wanted at 199 Hamlin Center Road. There was a public hearing for him to enlarge his garage for useful storage. Public hearing again, no speakers. So they approved that, and it was for a variance because of where he's pushing the garage out to. It's going to be too close to the next property, the property behind it, by 3 feet. So they approved the variance for that. No speakers. 2 Summer Haven Drive, Mike Lee wanted to put a 4-foot black chain link fence on the lakeside. Again, public hearing, no speakers. They approved it based on what we talked about and what they saw when they went out. It's not going to obstruct the view, and it's set back anyway. And then the last one was Jeff Hand at 1767 for Schoolhouse Road. He wants to put a horse corral in his front yard. So there'll be an electric fence, it's a wood-powered electric fence, and then wood, a wood corral for like a horse fence. And then and they approved the variance for that the fence to go all the way up to the property line, so no setback. That was it.
All right, thank you very much. Denise, we have a funds report.
Just like the minute, say that the Hamlin Beach State Park History Museum, which is located in the former Yankee Contact Station, is open from 10 a.m. to noon on Saturdays throughout the summer and early fall, right up until it's wonderful there. And members of the Friends of Hamlin Beach are there on hand to answer their questions. It's kind of a soft opening the first part of the summer to see how it would go. And a lot of campers stop in because the campers drive right past it to get into the campground.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, again, it's 10 a.m. to noon on Saturdays if it's busy and you need to stay a little longer, that's okay. But, share information about the park's history. If people are local, then we can tell them other things to do, like the CCC camp and the Yankee March Trail and so on. So it's an informative place for people to get information and to get members of something and do.
Very good. Thank you very much. Is there a zoning workshop report?
Given one workshop, we did not discuss battery storage, which is really like the return is not available. We talked about the needs for the town of Hamlin, and changes in each 10 years. Try and move them up a little bit to be not really competitive with other towns, just a little bump for our town. And that's about it.
All right, thank you very much. That's it for this portion of the meeting. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
I'm gonna look at the term, what's in it?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and adjourned to, adjourn this meeting. All in favor, signify by saying aye. With the same people be present. Okay, we'll go right into the Hamlin Waterfront Committee. We have any referrals?
There were no referrals since the last meeting.
Okay. Is there any discussion on anything?
I have something to discuss.
Okay. Let's discuss it.
Okay. I have read in a couple of places about the New York State Legislature passing a freshwater wetlands protection reform. And so I'm going to read just a couple of lines from the Sierra Atlantic.
Okay.
The Sierra Atlantic is one of the chapters of the National Sierra Code. On April 8th, 2022, Governor Hochul and the state legislature came to an agreement on a state budget which included historic wetlands protection reform. Before the new law was passed, a wetland could only receive protection in New York if it was delineated on an existing freshwater wetlands map prepared by DEC after waiting public comment. But most of the state's official wetlands maps have not been updated in over 20 years. As a result, there were hundreds of thousands of acres of wetlands in high development areas of New York State that were not on official maps and did not receive desperately required protection. So all that is about to change with the freshwater wetlands protection reform. And there were 12 points that were listed in this article, saying specifically the wetlands reform budget will, and I'm not going to name all of them, but some that were significant to me because I do inspections related to wetlands in the Hamlin area. They're going to lower the threshold for mandatory permitting for freshwater wetlands from 12.4 to 7.4 acres, and that will happen in 2028. For the first time, they're going to add protection to vernal pools, some of New York's smallest but most ecologically significant wetlands for breeding amphibians and vertebrates. Remove red tape and agency costs related to wetland protection, and require the DEP to keep and maintain the freshwater wetlands map as an online informational resource. Also forego the jurisdictional nature of New York's existing state freshwater wetlands map. Starting in 2025, after new rules and regulations are promulgated. I said there are 12 of these, and I'm going to give this to Cheryl so she can include it in the minutes, and then you can read all of this. But, from what I can gather from this, that you really have to have maps to go by in order to follow through on all of this. I don't know how long it's going to take to update these maps, but it's important for the state and for the environment.
Well, thank you very much. Are there any more discussions? Anything we need to talk about? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll move to adjourn.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn this meeting. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing none, so carried.